Hey, welcome back to Jigs on Twitch. We are back after winning round 1. Update that score. In game 2 against Romario Vidal. This hand's pretty rough, especially with just the one land, but the upside of drawing a land is pretty huge, so I'm going to have a good think about it. If we don't draw a land, we can still Green Suns for Dryad Arbor. We also have the option to play Giver or Elvish Reclaimer. I think because there's so many lands in the deck, I'm pretty happy to keep this. It is a little bit rough against some of the Ren decks in the format, but we'll see how it flies. City of Brass. So we're looking at Dredge, most likely. So Scavenging Ooze is nice, maybe a little bit too slow. Elvish Reclaimer. Alright, let's go for Green Suns here. Because we already have the Skoos. So let's get their graveyard up here, where it's most likely going to be a little bit more, a little bit more interesting than their hand. Let's just say that. So they now have Cephalid Column and LED, which is pretty rough. So they want to discard first to get the Golgari Thug back in the graveyard. Oh, I think you want to activate the Threshold ability after you do some other stuff. Oh, Hogak. They have one way to cast it. Narcomoeba will trigger. But now it's just, okay, they have Cabal Therapy. Be interesting to see what they name. Luckily, they don't have another one, so if they don't name Scavenging Ooze, and we draw into a green source, we can use it. I wouldn't be surprised if the name Scavenging Ooze is probably my only out here, and they might know that we're already on some sort of Maverick style deck, so Skoos is definitely not out of the question, but they've named Knight, which is still a hit. I guess Crop Rotation is also a pretty nice draw, because we can Crop Rotation into Bojuka Bog. But here's going to be Hogak, which is pretty brutal. So a nice little turn 2 here for my Dredge opponent. Maze of Ith. Not great. It does kind of deal with the Hogak, so I'm still going to cast just the Ooze here. And pass back. Okay, so nothing too bad for my opponent, although we will be taking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 this turn and going down to 9. So we'll definitely untap the Hogak. And then most likely just pass here. Two more bridge triggers is pretty good. Dark Depths. The 2 lands that I really don't want in this matchup. We'll definitely play it, and then it's probably worth just eating the Icarid here. I don't believe it works in a way that I feel it. Maybe I have to eat the bridges. So next turn we're definitely taking... We can block 1 zombie with the Ooze, most likely, and take 6, 7, 8. Blocking, still really rough. My opponent has multiple ways to dredge, so there's no real reason to take those. I think right here it is Icarid. And just pass back. The Dryad Arbor dying also turns off the bridges, which is a little win, but it's not the greatest. Looting's pretty good. There's Cabal Therapy as well, which is pretty brutal. Sadly, this is most likely over, but I think it's worth at least playing out to see what happens. So we'll definitely untap the Hogak. Go to blocks. I think we'll block one here and the Dryad Arbor. And then before damage, we'll tap that, and then we'll eat. Probably just an Icarid. I could be going after bridges, but I believe bridge is only non-token creature. And this this Dryad Arbor will luckily also deal with the bridges in a way, so not too shabby. See how we go here. Well, that's okay. Maybe a little bit too slow though. So our opponent, unfortunately, Maze deals with Hogak. We can't block the Putrid Imp and the 3 Narcomoebas, which will be 2, 3, 4, 5, most likely 6 because they can dredge in actually. Oh no, Threshold is just, I thought it was if you discard a card it gets +1/+1. So we can't even use this ability, which is rough. Because of these 2 lands not tapping for mana, the Thespian stage is kind of untapped anyway, so... I think sadly this is just a lost game. Reclaimer earlier would have been kind of nice because then we can go and get Bojuka Bog, but it just wasn't happening that game. So let's get rid of Gaddock Teeg. We're definitely bringing in Faerie Macabre. We're definitely bringing in Surgical. Path to Exile is interesting. I don't know if it's worth it though. Collector Ouphe hits LED, but that's about it. Veil of Summer hits Cabal Therapy, but that's about it. I think Thalia on the play is okay. I think we can definitely take out... I think Tomik's actually pretty good because of what it does. And in case they bring in Silent Gravestone, I kind of want to make sure I have Knight of Autumn in the deck. So let's go Safekeeper out. I don't think we really need Givers because of how our creatures actually block the creatures really well. So we're looking at 60 here. I can probably even drop down like maybe 1 Dark Depths. And maybe bring in... maybe 1 Givers. Just in case I need to get through something like Narcomoeba in the air with the combo. So I'm gonna go like this. Sylvan Safekeeper does have that small upside of being able to sack Dryad Arbor to kill bridges, which is kind of funny. So maybe Sylvan Safekeeper is actually better than Giver Runes. It's just like a small interaction that might actually come up. Whew. Fast start for my Dredge opponent. And sadly, you can see where you shouldn't just keep 1-landers. But, you know, we tried to put up a fight, and I think it actually didn't go too bad. This hand's great. We're going to keep this. The crop rotation's really nice for Bojuka Bog. I think because we want to have multiple green sources. So this forest is my only access for crop rotation and green suns. So I think I'm pretty happy here to actually just green suns for Dryad Arbor. To not only get ahead on mana, but also have 2 forests that I can sack 2 crop rotation. And then also not be left without a forest in my mana base. Mainly because of the Surgical as well. Surgical is just pretty great against what my opponent is most likely trying to do. Especially if they only have one type of Dredger to go off. But this is mainly going to go for bridges. Silent Gravestone, okay. Well, luckily, crop rotation doesn't really worry about that. Green Suns. So do I want to wait so I can Green Suns... I can attack for 1 this turn, and then next turn I can Green Suns for Night of Autumn, and then turn on Surgical? I don't think that's the worst. So play Plains. And then attack with Dryad Arbor here. Just a pass from my opponent. Interesting. Screws is kind of nice, but we definitely want to go ahead with Green Suns here. Night of Autumn, trigger, destroy Silent Gravestone. Alright, pass back. I wonder if they kept a slow hand because they had the Silent Gravestone. This looks like a breakthrough. With no mana floating, interesting. Draw 4 cards, then choose X in your hand and discard the rest. So they get to keep 1. So maybe they can draw into like a Lotus. Does Narcomoeba not go on the stack? Ah, because it went... Okay. So Surgical and Bridge is definitely what I want to achieve. And I think here... I'm trying to think how important this City Brass is. So if I want to Wasteland it... or... Sorry. Play the Verdant Catacombs as another green source. So we have access to 2 green with Scavenging Ooze, which I think is a little bit better. We'll just get a Savannah. Cast Ooze. We'll attack for 2 with the Knight. And then pass. So triggers on the stack, I believe we can eat them now. So there should only be 1 left, I believe. And then it's going to concede. Okay, so luckily we didn't have to show Surgical or Crop Rotation, which is really nice. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. I think because of that Silent Gravestone, I'm happy to actually take out maybe a Knight or 2. Maybe Ramunap as well for just that second Force of Vigor. Also hitting Lotus Petal isn't too bad. I think because we're on the draw as well, I'll take out 1 Thalia. Maybe Thalia's not too bad because if we're quite aggressive with our mana denial strategy, they can't flashback Cabal Therapy too easily. So that's always interesting. Maybe I'll just go ahead with the same 60. I'm pretty happy with this, so... Yeah. This hand's pretty nice. Because we have the Faerie Macabre, we can also go turn 2 Scooze with Green Sun Zenith. So I'm going to keep this. Maybe a little bit risky, but... You know, sometimes you just got to keep a little bit of a risky hand against some of the faster decks in the format. Does my opponent have Gravestone? That's the big question here. Because then it turns off Faerie Macabre, which is really just my out right now. Cabal Therapy, okay. I wonder what they name. Probably Surgical? They could also name Scooze, I guess. They also went down to 6. Ah, themselves. Okay. So what do they got? Looting, Stinkweed, Petal. Interesting. So now they can cast this and then Looting. So the Lotus Petal's fine. They can cast Faithless Looting. But now we can hit Stinkweed and Cabal. So they can't actually dredge anything. They got a bridge. Okay. Reclaimer. Reclaimer's pretty nice here. Because it turns on a Bojuka Bog next turn. Which we can actually activate with the Ancient Tomb. So that also leaves open the Green Sun Zenith for something like Dryad Arbor if we want it. No cards in hand. So they do have the option to Faithless Looting here. But we also have the turn to bog them next turn. So this is going to be interesting. So this is all they have? So an Exile is looting Stinkweed Cabal? I think it's worth just exiling this right now. So let's go Green Suns for Dryad Arbor. And then sack this forest for Bojuka Bog. And bog my opponent. Which isn't great right now. It doesn't really hit much, but I think it really just puts our opponent in a really bad position where they have no cards in hand. They have no cards in the graveyard for Threshold, so not even like Colosseum can go off. So pretty lucky to get that one. So a huge thank you to you guys for watching this game. I'll be back with round 3. Hope you're enjoying it. Hope you're having fun.